Good evening and welcome to Be Empower's Network First podcast for Mental Health Awareness Month. I am here with Dr. Hassan Batts,
Hello,
my,
hello, hello.
my friend, my brother from another mother who is up north. I appreciate you joining me this evening. How are you?
I'm wrestling with some things, but I'm good all in all. I got a little bout of food poisoning that I'm coming through, but life is beautiful nevertheless.
I mean, you brought it up. I wouldn't, I think you got a bout of hard headedness.
Mm,
Nonetheless, I am glad that as you wipe your brow, you are coming up on the other side of it and, feeling better. You're looking good. You
that's
got
right.
fresh shade for me. Your head is all shiny. I'm appreciating.
That's sweat.
I'm appreciating your attentiveness to this here podcast.
No, this is a serious issue, man, and there's no one I'd rather have this conversation with than you, because I know how important, how critical this is to you. This isn't just clickbait. This is what you live and breathe every day, making sure you're working towards your wellness and that the people in your circle and your outer circle are well in every way.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it. So tell us a little bit about your background before we get started so that we know that we're talking to a trusted community member.
A trusted community member. Where do I begin? You want the elevator version? Well, we talking about mental health, right? So I
Mhm.
will share that I am. I always start by saying I'm Mama Bats' baby boy, or her beautiful baby boy, as she always endearly called me. Uh, I come from a community that is riddled with mental health experiences and a family that is riddled with them, and the understanding that to live in this world and not wrestle with something, there would be something wrong with you, because this world, this country, right, specifically, is so corrupt and damaged, and oppressive to our people that it does something to our soul,
Mhm.
and until we come together and tether ourselves to each other, to our families, to our community, to our people. So that's kind of the position that I approach this whole mental health thing from.
I wanna I wanna unpack that a little bit because it's really interesting. Your choice of words. I have an affinity for words, um,
Mm-hmm.
and I believe that our choice of words, especially with someone who has such a vast lexicon as you, is important. And you said, I come from a community that is riddled with mental health issues, both in the community, family, those around you, but you excluded yourself.
I would say that goes without saying. I mean, I carry a couple diagnoses myself.
Hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think you can come from the environments in which we come, or I come,
Hmm.
and not have got something on you, right? However, I think the strength also lies in our people in our community in that same family.
Hmm.
So I got the protective factors
Hmm.
more so than the risk factors.
That is a couple months ago we had a dialogue, right? And we came up together on some things that came from that dialogue, and we were talking about antibodies. But before
Mm,
we go to that conversation, right? That kind of stirred up all of these things in us. Um, hurt people hurt people. Tell me
that's
what that
right.
means to you.
That's right. Hurt people, and the other part that we like to add to that is in healing people help people heal, right?
Mhm.
So if you don't recognize, acknowledge, and dig deep and begin to heal the wounds that you've experienced, then you will transfer that pain. We talk about energy, right? Energy
Mhm.
doesn't die, it's just
Mhm.
transferred. So you will live a life just bringing harm upon people because of what happened to you in second grade or at 6 years old. You will damage people in relationships, you will damage people in a grocery store, you will be a boss that is leading from their wounds. You will bleed all over people in every walk of your life, um, because of your fear or ignorance or avoidance of doing the work, the healing work that you have to do for you.
Mhm. Now, I want to take that a step further, because if we can say hurt people, but you and I sit here on a journey of healing, can we also say that hurt people teach people?
If you have taken the pain and learned from it or turned it into purpose, then you can teach people. I mean, I suppose you can teach people what not to be and who not to be and
Mhm.
how not to be. If you, I mean, if you're walking in your pain, you just causing havoc a lot of the times, man.
Mm.
And that doesn't mean there's no good in you, but you do a lot of damage. You hurt a lot of people. That stuff multiplies. So I do believe you can teach people, but I think that you have to. There's a lot of work that we have to do. You
Mhm.
know, if you've been hurt, if you've been injured, if you've been harmed, we always say healing is your birthright, and I
Mhm.
think we have to recognize that first. That you deserve to heal. You deserve to be happy. You deserve deserve beyond just as an individual, right? It is your birthright that
Mhm.
you are here to be well, and I think we need to know that wellness is our birthright, and I don't think many people believe that oftentimes.
I think that we I think that we struggle with being well and being healed and being whole and being thriving beings is our birthright. It's almost like an autoimmune disease. I'm a nurse, everything goes
That's
in my
right.
brain that way, right? Because I also know that I carry the hurt, the pain, not just of my lifetime, right? But of the lifetimes.
That's right.
And so if the hope of wellness and healing and joy and thriving is written in my DNA, then there's this internal battle of hurt, pain, oppression, regression, all of the things that have also been written in our DNA. And so, how do we, one, stop that internal fight? Two, recognize it. Really, one, recognize it, right? That should be one. Name it, and then be delivered from it. How do we do
That's
that?
right. That's right. You took me back to that old story of the two wolves, where the grandfather tells his grandson every man, he says, has two wolves in him.
Mm,
One is centered in anger, hatred, pain, jealousy, envy, racism. He says the other is centered in love, compassion, support, friendship, trust. And he says they're constantly at war with each other. And the
mm,
grandson says, which one wins? And he says, the one that you feed.
mm, mm,
So we have the pain in us, the hurt in us, and we also have the joy in us, right?
mhm,
And we talk about this idea that black joy is resistance, because it's in there. I mean, even when you talk about historical trauma or epigenetics,
mhm,
there's just as much joy as there was pain.
mhm,
And we have to feed that joy, and we have to learn to be comfortable with that joy. We have to smile more. We have to be around people that love us and love people more. We have to look in the mirror and learn to feel good about ourselves. We have to get adequate sleep, drink adequate water. I mean, the basics, right?
mm, mhm,
How much water have you drank today? How much sleep have you gotten? You know, when did you learn how to breathe? I mean, most of us don't even know how to breathe, as
mhm.
crazy as that sounds. So that's how we get there. That's how we overcome the generations of pain. Is, I think, as you would say, the antidote is also the generations of joy.
Right, right. And you've heard me say it before, I'll say it again. I believe that Black people in America who were birthed in this country, ancestors of slaves, and who have remained and continue to live in this country, of the oppressed brown and Black people, have experienced it exponentially. And I'll qualify that. The reason why I say that is because when you look at other nations, even those who remain poor, who remain, who still have to struggle, we still deal with such a high level of oppression.
Mm-hmm.
There was oppression, war, Reconstruction.
Mm-hmm.
We have not had Reconstruction. Instead, we live in this what's the word I'm looking for? Reincarnation and repackaging of the same purpose in this country. And so when you say the one that you feed, I'm not feeding the beast, but they are for me.
Mm. Mm.
And
Constantly.
so right. So if I can overcome the beast in me, right? I can overcome the wolf in me, but I'm still running from the wolf that chases me every single day. And that beats my brain. you know that's acquired autoimmune diseases, that's anxiety,
That's right.
that's depression, that's lack of sleep, that's obesity, that's chronic covid, that's asthma, that's high blood pressure, that's diabetes, that's high cholesterol, that's food insecurity, that's housing insecurity, that's lack of education. The list can go on. What do I do with that?
We leave. We make hydra.
Hmm.
I mean, I think we continue to buy into these systems that are designed to destroy us, right? So we put our children in school systems that we know on every level, intellectually, spiritually, emotionally, economically, is designed to destroy them and harm them. We partake in a healthcare system that we know on every level is designed to destroy us and harm us. I mean, the list goes on, right? Every system that we engage with, sometimes by choice, at least for the two of us, because we have options.
Mhm.
Not even just theoretical options. We have both traveled. We both know homes. We're both global citizens, I would say, but we still choose to be here and engage with this hope of we're going to get just enough so that we can leave.
Mhm.
And so we're gonna drink just enough poison,
Mhm.
you know, until we can get out of here. So I think that's part of the challenge is we sign up for this. And I'm not absolving the system
Mhm.
of responsibility. It is designed to destroy us, to imprison us, to incarcerate us, to incapacitate us. However, we have to begin as a people to take responsibility. Some of us got to get out of here.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I'm going to read you a quote that comes from Sarah Jakes, and it says, "Don't be intimidated by the promise going through a hostile environment."
The promise.
The promise, your promise. Don't be intimidated by your individual promise going through a hostile environment. And I listened to that this morning, and it really it resonated with me, um, as someone who's in the midst of a startup, stepping out on faith, and it resonated with me because we're living in that hostile environment right now, right? We're living in a space that is doing everything in its power to make sure that the world knows and understands. I think you, Dr. Hassan Bass, is less than me. Kimberly Alexander is less than. Like it is coming through in the loudest voices it could possibly come through. And there I would say for me personally, there's a level of, can I really do it? Is this gonna
Mm,
really be successful? Can I be my authentic self? Can I be hood Harlem, corporate boardroom? Can I be compassionate, caring? Can I be, I'm giving it to you raw? Can I be side of my head shaved, ethnic earrings? I went on a job interview and the woman asked me if I could take my nose ring out. And could I cover my tattoos, because she just didn't feel it was professional,
that's right.
you know? And At first I said, I said, well, I can't take my nose ring out, but I can reduce it in a way that it's not visible. And I thought about that. And I was like, but if that's not professional, is she gonna next ask me to take my twist
You
out?
know what's coming. Yeah.
Like, is she gonna be like, well, can you grow the side of your hair back?
You know what's coming.
Well, can you just get a blonde wig that's straight and put it on?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
what is coming next? And
Can you not move your hands so much as you speak? Can you
right,
lower your voice a little bit?
can you not tell me no without something else behind it? Can you not say coffee and coffee? Can you not give me the turkey
Yeah.
neck? Like, because
Your
that's
head don't
who
have to
I am,
move when you
right? And
talk,
that
right?
is who I am. Like, that is authentic me,
That's
right?
right.
Like,
That's right.
when I'm having a good conversation with somebody who I'm enjoying and you say something, and I'm like, oh, you stupid. You know I ain't calling you stupid.
That's right.
Like, it's who I am. And I've come to a place where I no longer want to be intimidated
Mm.
by who I am in my authentic self, what my ideas are in their authenticity, and the road that I'm traveling. And so when I heard that quote this morning, it was like, I know what my promise is, right? Like, I'm Christian, you Muslim. That, like, we still know, right? We know what our promise is, right? And so I want to be able to abide in that space. I want to be able to live my life in that promise. But I can't say that it's not scary. I can't say that it's not anxiety building. I can't say that it's, not like, it gives me the shit sometimes. Like, for real, I say something or I decline something or I
That's
stand
right.
on my truth and I'm going to the bathroom, like, real talk, like complete transparency and honesty. Like, my stomach starts to bubble.
That's right.
Like, what do we do with that energy? Like, where does it go? And how do I broach the conversation in safety?
Yeah, you're talking about that constant challenge of us creating our own, right? Spaces where we can be safe, where our women can be safe, where our children can be safe. One of the things that I've come to learn and understand about my people, even myself, many times, is one of the reasons that I hustled was because I felt I could be myself.
Mm.
I feel, and even to this day, I feel more comfortable with street dudes than corporate dudes. And that is you nod as though you understand, right? And that has nothing to do with crime, right?
Absolutely not.
That has to do with freedom. So when you look at who is incarcerated, there are entrepreneurs incarcerated, there are warriors incarcerated, there are the list goes on, right? The one of the issues in our community is the warriors at war with each other, we always say. So the people that really push and resist and push for revolution are the ones that don't fit into that box.
Mhm.
And when you don't fit into that box, there aren't many alternatives because there are so many stringent policies, to prevent you from. I mean, you can't just sell watermelon out the back of your truck anymore. You can't just make clothes and sell them. You can't just grow a garden, right?
Burn
So,
the
so
CD. Listen, I watched some of the best movies.
right. I mean, the entrepreneurs had avenues before, right? You got
That's
to have a
right.
license to do hair. I
That's
mean, so I mean, you look at, like I said, both of us travel. You look at when you travel, you buy a piece of land and you build a house. Like you can take your time. You can build that house for 20 years. But when you're done, your house is paid for. You don't have any taxes. I
right.
mean, so people that haven't experienced that, it may sound wild, but I think that's part of what contributes to that pain that we're talking about because we're a part of a system that we don't want to be a part of, that doesn't want us to be a part of it, and it's destroying us every day. So we take jobs that are killing us. We live in homes that are killing us. We live in communities that are killing us. We shop at grocery stores that are killing us. My wife said something earlier about going to Home Depot, and I had to say, well, Home Depot X, Y, and Z, right? Like, so we have to think about things that if we lived in a community, we wouldn't have to. I mean, and Lowe's is no better, right? Don't go to Target, go to Walmart. Like, these are the decisions we have to make every single day, and they harm us, and that's on a large scale, right? But just
Right.
on a daily daily skill. We I have to think about, do I want to send my daughter to a job at 15-year old where I know the dirt bags that are there waiting for her, and my job is to protect her.
Right.
You know, do I want to send my 2-year old to school
Mm.
and I know that those teachers hate him? At 2 they see him as 6. At 6 they see him as 10. So
Yeah. Black preschoolers are amongst the largest population of individuals who are expelled from preschool.
I was expelled from preschool. So this is a cycle right now. So I know all too well.
For
You
regular
know,
ages and stages stuff. You know,
regular ages is for just being a 4-year old,
uh, it's
a black 4-year old.
yeah. Let's talk a little bit about decision making fatigue because we're both leaders. We're both leaders by title and leaders in our community by just by grace and experience, right? You know, we have become trusted individuals in our community because of our trauma. So it's both a blessing and I don't want to say a curse, but it's a unrequested badge.
Mm.
I use those words, right? Um, but with that leadership and with that responsibility, because I think in addition to being trusted, and because we are trusted, there's a certain level of integrity that we both enjoy, right? We enjoy walking and moving with a certain level of integrity. And we also take responsibility. It is not lost on us that people are watching. But that comes with a high level of decision making fatigue. It comes with a high level of um, thought and rumination because I know somebody is watching me. And especially for you as a black man, right? You know, because as you walk the streets as a prison survivor, as someone who um, seeks to teach others not to harm the community, but to uplift it in very specific ways, how do you manage that? And what is your outlet there? And how do you replenish from your pouring?
I limit my exposure to environments where I'm not loved. I try to, right? Now that doesn't mean I don't have to take meetings and things like that, but even then they're limited.
Mhm,
So I don't associate. I try not to associate with people that don't love me. I don't
mhm,
spend a bunch of time in the mall. It's
mhm,
too many personalities. I if I'm going to, like seriously, right? If I go to Costco, I'm in and out. I'm going there, I'm shopping, I'm coming out. I'm not fighting with you over no parking spot. And like I done seen too many people hurt.
mhm,
Um, I don't drink or do drugs, so it's not gonna happen in my house. It's not like me and my best friend gonna be drinking and we end up shooting each other.
mhm,
So it's typically gonna happen in another space. So I limit my engagement in the spaces without harm can happen. And I'm talking, you know, fatal, physical, emotional. Like I don't surround myself with people that talk nasty to me, people that insult me, people. I don't play chess in my house. That's what a brother told me one time. Like in his marriage, he said he's not playing chess in his marriage. So I don't do that. Like we're honest, we're direct, we're kind to each other. So that's how I protect myself. I have these protective mechanisms built
mhm,
in where I will remove myself from an environment or relationship quickly if I know, because we know we have that wolf inside of us,
mhm,
and I'm a scary dude. So if I
mhm.
think you're gonna hurt me,
You're a teddy bear man.
because that's what you bring out of me, right? So those are the relationships we want. But if you think I'm gonna hurt you, you're gonna protect yourself because you got babies to make it home to. So you don't put just we shouldn't put ourselves in relationships or in spaces where people are trying to hurt us. And we have to trust our instincts because we know the signs. You know that boss is disrespectful. When you say, did that mean what I thought it meant? Did she say to me what I thought she was saying? Yeah, she was saying that. you know, and you don't have
But
to
you
fight
gotta
with her,
think about it. It's like
right?
the old adage: if you have to ask the cost, you open up the menu, there's no prices on it, and if you have to ask how much it costs, you can't afford
That's right.
it.
That's
Yeah,
right. If you got to go through his phone, it's time to move on.
that part. That
You
part.
know,
That I don't even know how people make it on the Maury's of the world and the Jerry Springers of the world and all that nonsense. If you got to go that far, it's done.
because they're
Like
seeking to be seen.
it's done. There's nothing more to prove there. We done with that.
That's right. So we have to pour into the relationships where we are seen, because we spend so much time chasing the spaces and the relationships where we're not seen, that we neglect the places and the spaces where we are seen. And we begin to not even recognize it when it shows up, what love feels like, what respect feels like, what friendship feels like.
Because I'm an
Mhm.
imposter in those environments. When I walk into a room and you tell me that I'm great, when I walk into a room and you tell me that speech was dope, when I walk into a room and you tell me you are okay just as you are, the way that you walked in, I feel like an imposter. Because how could you see those things in me? Nobody's like,
That's right.
how can you see that in me? You
What do
know,
you want?
so I'm now in this space of anxiety and I'm now in this space of what do I have to do to make sure you continue to see me that way instead of understanding that you just see me.
Mm. And
And
you're
so
worthy of being seen.
exactly. Like I don't have to do anything. I don't have to say anything. I can just be. And just being means being quiet in yourself and silence is loud. Silence is loud when you don't trust who you are, when you don't see who you are, when the world has told you that is not who you are. And
That's right.
so I need to hear talking. I need to hear reassurance. I need you to keep telling me that I'm okay. And when I stop hearing that, I get scared.
That's right.
So I don't know how to be in the room of my people and just be.
Yeah. We again, right? We have to protect ourselves, man. We have to protect and limit what we're exposed to. I remember many, many years ago, I was in a relationship, and this magazine came out, man. It was like the most beautiful black women of, I don't know, 20,
Get in here right.
2006, something like that, right? And the sister saw the magazine and she said, "Don't none of these women look like me."
Mm,
And I thought about it. I said, man, I'm looking at these magazines and it diminishes the relationship that I'm in, right? So we have to be mindful of what we expose ourselves to, what we're constantly, if our car's not enough, if our home's not enough, if our bodies aren't enough, if our minds aren't, if our jobs not enough, if our bank account, nothing is enough, because we're bombarded with these messages and images, these external messages and images, and we have to acknowledge and wonder where the source. What's the source of them?
mhm.
It's not
Absolutely.
coming from your grandmother. Your grandmother did not tell you you need to look like that.
Mhm.
You know.
Nope, my grandmother rubbed garlic on her hair every night because she had male pattern baldness, and she would just go to bed smelling like garlic. Because every night she just rubbed it on her hair. She said it was gonna make it grow. You know, I don't know if that ever happened for her, but
But she didn't mind the garlic.
she did. Neither did
You
my
know.
granddaddy,
See, because he loved grandma.
and neither did my
Mhm.
grandfather.
But that old time love is he didn't have Instagram. Had he looked at Instagram, everybody smells like peaches and berries when they go to bed, right?
Yeah, I want
So
to
the
talk.
key is you are enough. That's what we have to remember.
Yeah,
All of us, that we are enough. I am enough.
yeah,
Even when I don't feel like it.
yeah, and believe it. Because I got that T-shirt, but I could tell you there are days that I wear that T-shirt and I don't necessarily believe it. We have to continue to pour in ourselves and be around those who pour into us.
That's the key. We got to surround ourselves with people that remind us. And we have to remove ourselves from the people that tell us otherwise. The ones that tell you you're a piece of crap and you ain't never gonna be nothing and nobody loves you but them. And you have to recognize what direction this is going. Say,
Yep.
oh, I've been here before, so you want to isolate me so you can abuse me,
Hmm.
you know? And you have to protect yourself, you know?
Um, I don't know what it is a byproduct of for you. You can tell us if you choose to share, but I remember the very first time we met in person, and I brought you a mug as a gift, and I filled it with ice and water because I'm a caretaker. Don't laugh too hard because I'm a caretaker. And I filled it with ice and water, and you were so polite. Like just in fact, it wasn't the first time we met in person, it's actually the second time we met in person. And you were just like so profoundly polite. You put it down in the car because you picked me up. And I had mine too, matching. We was like matching twins, sister and brother,
Hmm.
hugs. And I'm drinking my water. You didn't pick up the cup. It's hot as hell outside, but you didn't pick. And so I waited a little while. It probably was maybe even the next day. And I said, "You didn't drink that water, did you?" And you said, "No." And I said, "Thought I poisoned you, huh?" You said, "Maybe," or something like that. What does that level of distrust come from for you?
No, you trying to get deep on this show, huh? You are
Tell me
funny.
about it.
You are funny. I
I'm
don't know, man.
observant, and I noticed it right away.
I've seen some bad things. I've experienced some bad things, and they stick with me. You know, my wife says to me, it's a couple things that I do. That's one of them. And she'll say, well, you never seen nobody poison before, but you worry about people poisoning you. You know, or she'll say, you never seen anybody bit by a snake before, but you you worry about snakes. I have a new assistant, and the other day she brought me some water, and the same thing happened, man. And that's just something you got to learn about me. You know, it's
Give you the cup empty and the bottle of water closed.
yeah, the bottle of water closed, man. When I'm at my best, I will open the bottle, walk away, come back and drink it. That's progress. I don't know. There's few people I'm going to drink the water from, but if I leave it open in the room with you and I come back, I get out the car, run in the store, come back and drink it. That means I'm well, right? So we always have our little pet peeves. You know, that's one of them. And like I said, I don't know that I've seen anybody poisoned, but they done tried to get me in so many different ways, man. So I appreciate that you can laugh about it and not personal. Now
Oh,
your folks is watching the show like, who is this guy, man?
no, I mean, I think we all have that. And for me, it shows up in a different way. I get scared. I'm scared of the dark. Like I don't know that
Okay.
I've ever publicly shared this, but I am scared of the dark. Like profoundly, viscerally scared of the dark. I sleep with the light on. If I'm alone,
Night light or light?
no. Like not the up light, but I got a
A
full
lamp.
light.
Yep. With
Yeah.
a 200-pound dog.
Who sleeps in my room?
Yeah.
And I'm a card carrying member
I,
of.
I, I don't want to say that.
Ain't got no problem saying it.
Yeah. And a couple hammers.
I a cup. So I'm gonna tell you how deep it is. I have. I gave y'all my proverbial talking stick, right, for the C She
Hmm.
symposium. But now I have another one that stays on the side of the bed. I have two box cutters, one that stays on the nightstand and one that stays in the drawer. I got the hammers and I sleep with the light on, and I have 110-pound Cane Corso that sleeps in the room with me. And I still won't sleep in the dark.
Wow.
And once the sun goes down, I actually will have an anxiety attack going into certain parts of my house because I can't see what's in front of me. If I'm home alone, I will shower before it gets dark.
What's dark? Mm,
And I shower and sleep in my glasses because I can't see without them.
wow.
At all times, I have to be able to see my
That's
surroundings
right. That's right.
because my surroundings have failed me.
They said it shows up in different ways for us.
So, you know, it don't matter how street certified some might say I am. It don't matter how much of a good shot I am. There's this visceral portion of me, and it's not. We talk about the rational mind, and we talk about the emotional mind. It's not. It don't like in this space for me. No matter how emotionally intelligent I am, my emotional mind wins every single time.
That's right. That's
Every time. And I don't think I've ever shared this. Like I've shared a lot of things out loud, but I don't know that I've ever shared this in such a open space. Um, it's a level of irrational fear that makes me angry with myself because I know I'm okay.
right. Mm-hmm.
I know I can go take a shower at 10 o'clock in the house I just walked, 10 minutes
Five
ago.
times. That's
That
right.
was completely secure, but I can't make myself do it. And I suspect that there are a lot of us out there that won't drink from the cup and won't sleep in the dark.
Mm. I have to write that down. It shows up in different ways.
You know, how do we mitigate that?
So I always say healing occurs in authentic relationships and within community. Um, and the part of that people miss is that the harm occurred in relationship,
Mhm,
right?
mhm,
The trauma, the pain, the injuries occurred in relationships. So we need a level of trust, we need a level of healing, we need a level of connection to help with that. And again, I go back to my wife. I give her a lot of credit when it comes to things like this because she early on would tell me, baby, you're a social worker. Like, I don't know what you watching out for or what you think is about to happen. Because she didn't know that part of me, right?
mhm,
So
mhm,
so but somehow she understood it. And she
mhm.
would just be like, you just a social worker. Is I don't think that they not following us. Now if you want to drive around the block 3 times, you can do that. Uh,
Once backwards.
yeah, yeah. But you went to see patients this morning and you just picked me up from work and I was selling used cars and we just going home. So I do think to a certain degree it's and we all have something, right? So it's not that we're dealing with people that are fully healed, but people that their fear of the dark shows up in a different way
Mhm.
so that they can support us. Yeah, I like that. There's something for all of us
Absolutely, absolutely. And it's
because it can dominate, like you said. When you know,
oh,
you know it's okay, but it can dominate.
it never it doesn't matter what I try. And I moved. I talk about myself with this. I bought this house and I love my house. I
Mm-hmm.
absolutely love it. But I did not understand or realize the country I moved to. And when it storms, our lights go out and they go out often, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, and someone stole my generator. And I ain't gonna cuss, but F you to whoever stole my generator. Just as a side,
Attached to your house.
it was outside my house. Yes.
The ones that's attached, not a portable generator.
No, it was a portable, but someone
Okay,
still stole it.
it still was
Uh,
yours.
it was mine. Um, but like I have woken up because the lights go out here frequently and I could be asleep, dead asleep. And I open my eyes and it's dark in here
Mm,
and the lights have gone out and I am paralyzed.
that's right.
Like I will hold my urine. Like I'm not going to see where the flashlight is at. In fact, the only thing I'm likely picking up is a weapon.
That's right.
And I am paralyzed in that space. And um it overcomes your entire body. Now I will go into Harlem today or tomorrow and be outside at 3 o'clock in the morning and not give a damn.
That's right.
but I won't walk my house in the dark at 3 a.m.
So there is a note that I usually have close to me, no matter where I'm sitting. A couple things I always have close to me. One is a weapon, right? The other is this sticky note. I don't know if you can see it. It says, "What would you do if you weren't afraid?"
Mm,
I usually have it on my computer, but I'm on the tablet now, so all of my computers is going to be on my phone somewhere, um, because I live in such fear, and
mhm,
I have to remind people. Think I'm so courageous.
me too.
I'm it's the same with you.
Hmm.
Yeah, we're courageous because we're so afraid, and we
Hmm.
have to push through. That is the courage, right? The courage is to push through
Hmm.
the fear. So I'm
Hmm.
constantly asking myself, what would you, when I'm sitting in a meeting and somebody says something out of line, if you weren't afraid, what would you do? You would disrupt it. So I have to disrupt it because I'll go home and I'll ruminate on it. Like, why you didn't say nothing when they did that?
Oh
You
yes,
let that slide. You know, you
and it makes me
soft.
so mad at myself.
Yeah, the ancestors upset.
So mad at myself. I mean, when I tell you, I replay, I have that conversation over. I'm writing about it. I'm journaling.
That's
I'm
right.
so
That's
mad
right.
at myself when I let somebody slide with that. And
That's
you know,
right.
I'm real slick. So if I could be slick with you, my brother, if I could be slick with my
That's
kids,
right.
dare I not be slick in that
That's
room too.
right.
And that's the part. It makes me so
That's right.
angry, and it's like
Because
people
those are the cowards. The cowards are slick with us, and then they pussy cats in that
telephone
room.
telephone tough guys. I can't stand me a telephone tough guy, man.
Telephone tough guys.
Yeah, I can't stand a telephone tough guy. And people say to me all the time, they're like, "But you walk with lions, and you travel to all of these countries by yourself, but you won't turn the light off." I will not turn the light off.
But you turn many lights off, right? So that's one. That's one. That's one. That's one thing.
Mm,
Because many decisions you have to push through.
mm,
And I don't think they understand that.
mm,
I learned. So one of the things I used to be. I'm a trained social worker.
mm,
So I used to be a therapist,
mm,
and one of the things I learned about like PTSD and anxiety disorders is oftentimes it's not like waiting for something to happen. It's something that you've experienced.
mm, mm,
Like it's something you know to be real
mm,
that you're thinking about. So we know the harm and the lack of safety is real. We
mm,
know the dark is scary.
mm.
I know the poison exists.
Close.
In some form of fashion, right? Well, let's say this. I know betrayal exists, right?
Right, right.
Like,
Judas was homies with Jesus. I got you.
I mean, my best friend tried to get me 40 plus years. Like,
Hmm.
you
Hmm.
know, one of my so-called best friends. I mean, and the
Hmm.
list goes on, right?
Hmm.
Two dudes that grew up on my block killed
Hmm.
each other. Like those
Hmm.
kind of things happened on a regular. So we know anything is possible.
Yeah, but anything is possible. That's a great segue, right? Because if we know that anything is possible, why do we stop dreaming?
I don't think we start, man. I think our dreams are crushed. We talked about kindergarten, remember?
Mm,
Pre-K.
mm,
I think our dreams are crushed in pre-K. And we have to learn how to dream, and we have to be around people that make it safe and encourage us to dream. Um, because oftentimes our parents are scared for us. They don't want us dreaming too big. The world hates us. I always say I was born into a world that hated me.
mm,
They didn't expect me to be more than I was becoming, and they fed that.
mm.
So people had to pour into me.
Yep.
They had to pour into me.
And for me, it was I was in the eighth grade the first time I got pregnant. I was 13.
Hmm.
And I was showing when I had the abortion. So I started at 13 coming off of younger childhood trauma into abortion trauma, into, you know, what it looked like to already have social anxiety, to already be awkward in so many ways because I was adultified and
That's right.
sexualized, right? And so now I'm in that situation. And then I'm pregnant again at 15. At 7 months pregnant, 16 years old, her father's murdered. And then I find out that she has three siblings that are all coming at the same time she's coming.
Mm.
My daughter got three. She got two brothers and a sister, and they're all the same age.
All the same age.
And he's gone, right? And then his uncle, who was more like his father, got life behind his name because he took care of that, right? Jungle justice. So the person who would be surrogate
It's
is
gone too.
is gone too for the better part of her life. He came home and was free for 5 years and then had a massive heart attack and died, right, at 50. And then by the time I was 22, I had three kids with three different last names. So I was this young girl who is angry at the world. And I'm sitting in a waiting room, and it's a story I tell a lot because it resonates so deeply with me when I sat in the waiting room and had someone come out and say Robinson, Bush, Alexander, and one mother stood up
That's right.
with three babies, and the whole waiting room would look at the young face and the three small children that followed me with all different last names. And it's it's the story that you want to suppress, right? It's the thing that you want to suppress. Never mind that I was 15 when I was first published, and I was 16 when I got my first Pace University Promise in Arts and Education Award. Never mind that I traveled pregnant with a jazz band and did spoken word. Never mind that Jimmy Breslin, who the son of Sam wrote to because he found him to be a trusted journalist, did an entire series on me as a child, right? Like, never mind any of those things. The only
That's
thing
right.
that comes to mind in my stomach is I had three kids with three different last names by the time I was 22. And so, how do we make sure that the three kids don't overshadow all of the other accomplishments? What can we do? I know we're building community, right? And I know that we need to bring people around us. But when I sit in my house, in my four walls, in my space, and it's quiet but loud, what do I do for myself in that moment?
That's right. Because you got to live with you for the rest of your life.
Mhm. What do I
That's
do?
real.
What do I do? What's the plan?
And those are the questions that we feel shame. We shame ourselves for asking.
Mhm.
Right. What do we do for us? How do we care for us?
I have on my whiteboard, I keep a whiteboard in my house, and in the corner of it, I have written, I do not have to qualify what I'm qualified for.
I
And
do not have to qualify what I'm qualified for.
every so often I walk past it and I read it because I'm qualified for all of the great things, but I'm also qualified for the nuance that is me, right? Like I'm qualified to be a holistic being with all of the parts and accepted with all of those parts and not feel like I have to disassociate some portion of me to feel whole in the world that I live in.
That's right.
And I think so many of us live in parts,
That's right.
and it's so hard. Part of it because code switching, don't you say nothing to that baby. I saw you turn your head. Don't you say nothing to that baby.
Let him be a baby, right?
That's right.
That laughter is joy.
um I think we're really accustomed to having to code switch in environments that we go into, right? Like that has been a process and a part of our lives forever. But I also think that we surface the part that we think is accepted,
That's right.
even without. even without knowing what it's going to be.
That's right.
And so I have consciously made an effort to try to live in my whole self in every space that I enter, no matter what space it is. And that is actually something I have to think about. I have to think about not changing who I am in that moment to fit the environment that I'm in. And that's not always easy for me to do.
That's part of that safety again,
Mm-hmm. Yep.
right? It takes courage to be yourself, to be your authentic self. And it's not always easy because, again, we have those messages and those voices and those experiences. So you have to ask yourself, how do I really want to respond? Who do I really want for dinner? Where do I really want to go? Right? Like, where do I really want to go?
Yeah, what do I want to be? So we have,
You up for some company? And, are you comfortable saying, no, I'm not up for company? I just want to.
I tell everybody, invite me to everything, and no, I'm probably not coming to nothing.
That's like one of my daughters.
But
She'll
I'm
get
mad
mad.
that you
She'll get
don't
mad if
invite
we
me
don't
though.
invite her. That's my daughter. She'll
You
get
gotta
mad if you don't
invite
invite
me.
her.
You
If she's
have to
not
give me
coming.
the opportunity to decide whether or not I want to be
To reject me.
there. It's not rejection. It's not rejection. We have about 10 minutes left, and anytime we together, we got to talk about it. I didn't birth babies to bury them.
Mm,
Um, it
mm.
is something that is my mantra. It's my thing. It has evolved, because it is not just my actual babies, but it's all of the babies that live in me, that live in you, that live in our community. Um,
That's the series, man. That's the book.
why do you like that quote so much? Because you love that quote, but
I
it
love
makes
that
you
quote.
feel something. Tell me about that.
I love
Whenever
that quote
you talk about
because,
why it means so much to you.
because I think it's self-explanatory. I know you, so I have some context to it.
Mhm,
But I think that quote speaks to our people. It reminds me of you. It reminds me of my mother. It reminds me of uh my wife, my mother-in-law, my
mhm,
daughters. Like, we just had there's been this recently a bunch of suicides locally. Um, Young black men, young, we're talking 15, 16, young Hispanic girls, unrelated. But,
mhm,
I think I'm a survivor of sibling suicide, right? And I think
mhm,
about what my brother's suicide did to my mother,
mhm,
who would always tell us her job was to get us to 18. So for you to make that statement and then to think about her saying that to us, like her job was to get us to 18. And I was the younger of the two. So then I made it to 18. And then she said, now her job is to get us to 25.
mhm,
Um, and as a parent, to think about having to live like that. So
mhm,
he made it to a couple weeks after his 25th birthday. And
mhm,
it's like, I remember my mother was in rehab at the time and had to drive hours. I was in North Carolina, so I had to come like 10 hours. And walking in the room and her saying to me, I always thought it was going to be him to tell me you were dead. As soon as she saw me walk in the room, you know so now as a parent, and then the pain she felt, right? Like the pain. So what I heard in that moment was, I wish it was you,
mhm,
which was not what my mother was saying to me.
mhm. Yeah.
um,
Mhm,
but then the pain that she felt for the rest of her life behind that. So when you say that statement, it really resonates, like to live your life trying to keep your children alive.
mhm,
Like that's it. That's
mhm,
the world you live in. That if you have a black son and now daughter, right,
mhm.
you're
Yeah.
just trying to keep them alive.
Yeah. Keep
And,
them
and
alive, keep them safe, keep them whole, keep them complete, keep them loving themselves, keeping because there's literal death, but there's so much behind figurative death too.
life in prison is a form of death, right?
Hmm. Yeah.
You're trying to keep them free. You're trying to keep them unaddicted, you
Hmm.
know,
Absolutely.
in healthy relationships. Like, it's
Yeah.
a lot, man. and I
and still experience joy, right? You want to experience joy, you want them to experience joy. Like, and this goes back to my earlier comment when I said we live in an environment and we live in this world that just repurposes and repackages slavery, right? Because
Mhm.
we continue to be slaves to something,
To something else, to
to
TikTok.
something. Like we continue to be that. And I think when we talk about discovering the warrior in ourselves, I think that's what this entire conversation was about, right? Like this entire conversation was an identification of the warriors that live in each one of us,
That's right.
in each one of us, because we get up every day and we do it. And you made a comment that is these were not your words, but almost to say we're gluttons for punishment because we continue to do it here in this country. Um, but we do it in warrior style. You know, I believe, I know I'm leaving this country once upon a time. I believe you are too. I believe that we will be neighbors in Senegal one day.
That's right. That's let's speak that into existence. I got 2.5 years left.
I believe that you and I will do that and enjoy that space in all of its beauty, right? One day. Um, but I think that there are a lot of people who won't come to the realization that some place is potentially better. And we don't have to continue to try to reform this space, but we can move on to a space that will love us. Um, my wish, if I believe in wishes, right? Like if I believed in wishes, my wish would be that all of us find a place where we get to be whole without caveat. Like that
Mic
would be
drop.
like that would be it.
That's right.
I don't
We
want
just
no asterisks. I don't want no like
we deserve that.
that's it. All right, so bam.
Beyond the nightmare, baby.
Let's talk about it. This where we ended right here. And when I got it, I was like, he had a lot on his mind.
Listen, I've tried to write that book so many different times, so many different ways. They wanted a book, and there was so much I wasn't ready to let go of.
Mhm,
But what I realized is we needed to write a book together.
mhm,
So that's what it is. It's a conversation. It's an opportunity. It's an invitation. Um, my first book, the publisher had asked for a book. This is more of an academic book,
mhm. It
and
looks like
we put together an anthology, right? So
it.
46 authors.
Mhm,
Um, so this is the same thing. It's not for me to just write a book. So very similar. So this book is as many people that buy it are co-authoring it with me.
mhm,
So it will take you through the steps that you need to go beyond the nightmare, whatever your nightmare is. And you talked about that. Everybody's afraid of the dark.
mhm. So I want
Everybody
to
has
start
that.
out by saying I'm proud of you.
Thank you.
You know, and I'm proud of you for more than just this book. And I know that you live in a space where people pour into you, but there's never any shortage of enough people saying to you, like, I'm proud of your journey. I'm proud of your accomplishments. I'm proud of your give back. I'm proud of just who you are. And I know I give you a lot of flack. Y'all don't know I be giving him a lot
Calling
of
me short.
enlightening in behind the scenes. But you know, like pure and genuine love for who you are, what you've been through. We did not live journeys parallel in the same spaces and places, but I've been in all of the spaces and places
That's
you
right.
have. And so because of that, um, I express a high level of gratitude for you writing this book and pulling back some of the scars, even though you won't drink my water.
We're getting there. We're getting there. I appreciate that and I receive it. Thank you. Thank you.
So
And I feel like you from the block from the first time I met you. I mean,
I
you from
am.
Harlem. You are, but I feel like you from my block, a small block in Brooklyn. Like we
That's
grew up. You
right.
you braid my hair, something like that. You know, You know, so it's like you the homie, man, and we need more of that in our lives.
Absolutely, absolutely. So Beyond a Nightmare, it is out there. You can get it. I want you to get it. Like Dr. Bass said, it will take you on a journey. He's not giving us the rubric in this book. He's giving
That's
us
right.
an opportunity to pull it out of ourselves,
It
whatever
is
that
life
is,
changing.
because it's individual to
That's
us.
right.
It is individual to who you are, what you need. And he's the secret sauce for the bomb recipe. So he's that we are the bomb recipe, and he's given us the secret sauce. So I want you guys to go out there and support my brother, get the book. But beyond supporting him, understand that it's about you, and it's going to do something for
That's
you
right.
no matter what your
That's right.
situation is. And you don't have to tell anybody about it. Like it's for you to keep under your pillow, and just keep plugging away at it when the world keeps plucking at us. That's it.
Stick with it.
Yep, that's it. That's
Change
it.
your
That's
life.
the
Stick with it.
post. Yes. Anything you want to leave us with?
Thank you.
No, thank
Thank
you.
you. Yeah, I'm feeling better. So I needed some love. I needed some high vibration. So thank you to your listeners, your viewers, and we have more work to do.
Absolutely. We have more work to do. This will not be the last time you see Dr. Hassan Batts sitting down talking with me. We will continue to focus in on mental health awareness,
Hmm.
what that looks like for our community, what that means to our community, where we can find resources. They're out there. There are people who are individually and collectively rooting for you
That's right.
every single day. And so we will continue to make sure that you hear that, you feel that you see that, even from a distance. Tune
Mm.
in next week as I talk to my sister, Shanna Ray Dames. We are going to go down the rabbit hole. She and I grew up together. We've known each other since we were 12. So y'all get ready.
Okay, I gotta check that one out.
Yes,
The
she has
secrets are coming out.
Yes, she has known me since I was 12 years old. So she is doing great things in the mental health space with my nieces, and it's going to be something to see. So thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, Hassan. I so appreciate you, and give that baby boy a kiss for me, and I'll catch you guys next time.
Be well.